Hello and welcome to Pro Webinar. Today, our $100,000 lesson plan is entitled Goal Crushing, the Map, Compass, and Canteen. Welcome. It is so great to be training with you today. And of course, we're in this month, this December month of preparation. And I've done this every year that I have been coaching my clients, is to use the 12th month, the December month, to be preparing for what is coming. Now, I know it's kind of strange because it's kind of sandwiched in between Thanksgiving, which we've already celebrated, and coming soon is Christmas and the other holidays that go around it. And then there's New Year's. And then before you know it, it's first quarter of 2024. So I just want to encourage you today that this is an amazing month of being able to slow down so that you can speed up setting and crushing goals in the first quarter of 2024, setting and crushing goals each quarter of 2024, setting and crushing your 2024 goal. That is all that we are about today. So if you want to crush a big goal, you need goal crushing preparation. And that's where I'm going to spend my time today. You know, you think about even what's on your screen, and you think about climbing something significant like Mount Everest, right? Look at what's on your screen and start to think about just the details of the equipment, the tools, the training that would need to be going on in order to make such a climb. So if you're looking to build your practice 50 adjustments a week, you're looking to see your income increase by $200,000 from 2023 to 2024. That's climbing a mountain. And I'm encouraging that, right? There should be a climbing or a mountain that you want to climb. You're committed to climbing it. And I am encouraging that. You need to have goal crushing preparation. The 2024 mountain, though, that you wish to summit demands your full attention. And you don't really have a lot of time left, in the sense that between now and the end of this year, this is that time. That's that time to really be looking at, how am I going to plan different? How are you going to plan better than maybe even how you came into 2023? How can I come into 2024 so much better prepared, almost as if with an unfair advantage that you're going to absolutely crush your goal? So there are four very big pieces to climbing a mountain, you know, and I want you to get this, 4 phases, if you will. And there's the number one, setting the climbing goal, which we were just talking about, right? Set that goal. Second is planning for that climb. The third phase is training to get in climbing shape. And then the fourth is the actual climb. Well, you cannot be technically in phase 4 because we're not in 2024 yet. Right? We're building, we're doing great work. Everything you're doing today is adding a brick on the wall, right? We're getting ready, but I want you to understand that these are sequential. So let's get after these. No climber would just start climbing and then see what happens, right? Could you imagine somebody showing up at the bottom of Mount Everest going, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, let's do it. And of course, if that did, that would probably lead to death almost every single time, or somebody getting, you know, maybe an hour up going, oh, no. And they're coming right back down. It has nothing to do with setting and crushing goals. So let's get to stage 1. You and I get to stage 1. I have done this many times. I have climbed many mountains with many clients. And I got to tell you, nothing gives me more joy than to see you absolutely summiting your mountain. I don't want to have to be the one setting your goal. I want to be the one right next to you, making sure that you're making all the right moves to get to the top of that mountain. So it's about setting your climbing goal. Where do you want to be by the end of 2024? Maybe that question has already been answered by you. And for many, it has. You've been actually talking with me, and we've been working through it. And maybe it's already written down, at least on a napkin. You know, it's like, no, I get this. And it was one night and you were at dinner and you're like, this is what I want to do. And I wrote it down on a yellow sticky. Some of you actually started to take some notes about it. Others of you have got it locked in even a more official way, right? Maybe you've actually claimed it with your team already, and we've already set goals for quarterly achievement through 2024. Maybe bonuses are already created. But if not, between now and the end of the year, that question needs to be answered. A very doable climb in next year, by the way, is 10% growth from your 2023 production. So if you did 1,000 adjustments a month in 2023, that would have been 12,000 adjustments that you would have performed in the entire year. You might call that your production, right? So to be able to actually then increase 10% of that would be adding another 1,200 adjustments over the 12,000. There is a goal, right? An arm's reach goal would be 20% growth, right? In that example, it would be adding 2,400 adjustments to the 12,000, just using that as an example here today in the pro webinar. An adventurous climb would be 50%. So if we did 12,000, we're going to add another 6,000. That's an 18,000 adjustment year of production in 2024. Think about who you would need to be. Think about the kind of motivation that you'd have to have on a day-to-day basis, the kind of team that you would want to lead and train, and the kind of execution and performance that it would take to pull such a thing off. Very doable. I just want you to know, I have been part of teams every year that pull that off. And then finally, I'm just calling it a BHAG, and that's the big, hairy, audacious goal, right? And that's the BHAG climb, where we're going to achieve 100% growth over 2023. In this example, 12,000 adjustments per month, or I should say in the year, we're going to do 24,000 adjustments in 2024. I have witnessed this. I have been part of these teams that have accomplished that. The question isn't which one of these is right. They're all right. The question is, which one are you ready and willing? Say that with me. That you are, yes, ready and willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen. You need to claim one. And remember, the title is Crushing It. I don't want you to just barely get that by December 29th of next year. Oh, we just got there. Do you know, for many of my clients, and they ask me these questions right now at this time of the year, and they go, you know, you've been involved with a lot of goal-crushing experiences over your coaching career, your practice career. What do you notice is in common? And let me give you that answer. Is that those goals, those annual goals, they're crushed by the end of September. In other words, we geared ourselves up right now in December in such a way, we planned so well, and we started climbing so differently, so better than we were in the year before, that we got ahead of schedule. So we crushed the first quarter goal. I can't even begin to tell you, when you come out of the gates in 2024, and you take January, February, and March, and you are now ahead of schedule, you absolutely crushed your first quarter goal. Do you know that there's an 80% chance of you crushing your annual goal? That's how big quarter one is. And then you got to keep that head of steam up, right? And that motivation, that focus, that purpose, that FCB, that PTC, all the things that we've been training on the last month. Yeah, you're good to go. And look how many more people's lives you've touched. Look how many more men, women, and children are healing and getting well from above down, inside out. They are learning about chiropractic. They're believing in chiropractic because of how you are teaching them. They're sharing it with others, and your practice is exploding. Today, one of these goals, or somewhere in between these goals, is what you need to choose. I want you to also know that it isn't just about adjustment production, as you'll hear me say in the next couple of minutes. It might just be literally revenue. I mentioned 12,000 adjustments for the year. Well, that may have actually come up to 400,000, in revenue. Well, then the 10% would have been adding another 40,000 on that, right? Then the 20% would have been adding another 60,000. The 50% would have been adding another 200,000. And the BHAG would have been 400,000 twice. That would have been 800,000. So in all those ways, you need to get right with that. You need to calculate the time and the energy that you are ready and willing to invest in your climb, and then lock it down. And you've got to make sure that you understand the time, energy, and money that you're ready to and willing to invest in this, whether it's at 10% or the BHAG at 100%, your time, your energy, and your investment to make that happen. And what is the investment in? Time, energy, and money. In you, in your team, in your training, in your marketing, in your PVA, right? I mean, it is in all these ways that we're able to look and say, we're going to crush that goal. We're going to serve that many more people. We're going to save that many more lives, and we will have our own rewards for doing so. You need to calculate that. You need to make sure ahead of time you're willing to make that climb. You don't need several KPIs. You will need to track, though. You don't need several goals, I should say. You don't need several goals. And that's a mistake I see frequently in practices that are really intentional about wanting to grow big. You don't need several goals, but you do want to track several KPIs. So as I mentioned a moment ago, tracking total revenue or tracking total appointments in terms of goals, right? Now you could have both of them, but many teams just literally focus on one. And there's not one right or the other. It's just how you want to feel good about tracking. These are the two most cherished goals every year. They are the finest goals that you could be aspiring to. And here's why. When you think about total number of adjustments, I know it's just a number, right? But to me, I start thinking about the stories. So yeah, we saw 12,000, we performed 12,000 adjustments this last year, but 12,000 adjustments this last year, how many stories go with that? The children, the stories of maybe that pregnant mom and how that baby was born, and then what happened with that baby as a result of your chiropractic care. Perhaps it actually was that someone got pregnant because they were under chiropractic care and they have not been able to be pregnant for years, and now they are. That person with the cane and they no longer have that cane. The person with all kinds of welts over their skin and it's all gone. The person with allergies and all the kind of medications that they need to take, it's all gone. The migraine headaches, the pulling over on the side of the road, the having to be in quiet areas for hours at a time, all gone. 12 years of migraine headaches, all gone. And they just don't have it anymore. That reversed cervical curve that you saw on that x-ray, and then months later, you're showing them, this is your new arc of life. That's the story and the energy, and they're sleeping so well, and they have a beautiful arc of life. Their atlas is perfectly set in their spine. I could go on and on about just what does 12,000 adjustments mean? Well, when you start thinking about the stories and you start thinking about the lives that you've saved, improved, extended, you start to recognize why you desperately want that number to grow. Say yes if you're with me. In the same way, if you want to just simply track as your goal total revenue, like we want to collect 500,000 or 750,000 or $1 million. As I mentioned, a client already claimed last month, like that's what his goal is going to be for next year. Several of you have that goal, by the way. Others of you have goals much higher than that because of where you're at. So it's a goal of 1.25, 1.5, 2 million, 2.5 million. Listen, your climb is your climb, right? And once again, it should be an increase of 10%, 20%, 50%, 100%. You'll figure out what that is. And listen, this is where you want me the most. I would suggest that you don't even commit to your schedule until you to your goal until you think tank me. So think tank me what you are thinking about, and in a sense, what I'm asking you to do is convince me why you should have that goal. That should be your think tank right now. If you haven't already done that, put down your goal and convince me why you should have that goal. And that goal should be either in total revenue or it is in total appointments for the year. Are you with me, right? And in the same way that I look at money, no one, no chiropractor, you, me, or anyone who's ever lived has ever made money without serving people, right? So we can look at the money and we can look at the revenue, but what does it mean? Just like the adjustments in the stories, well, collecting 500,000 or 750 or $1 million, what that means is look at all the people that we've helped, that we've served, that we've saved, improved, and extended in their lives. So we don't want to leave it just as some kind of stark number, some stale, cold number. No, that number means more than you could possibly imagine. It's that I want you to know. That is what you need to do, is make sure that goal is connected to the real purpose and the meaning of what it is that we do. So you need to bring that down to one goal, ideally. Now, your external new patients, your referrals, your retention, your missed visit percentage, your conversion rate, your re-sign rate, your attendance percentage to workshop, these are not goals. They are the tools needed to make the climb. Those are your KPIs, right? So you don't necessarily need to see all of those as goals. You need to see them as trackable KPIs. Now, would you agree that at least one of the tools, one of the KPIs that I have up on the screen right now, would you agree one or more of them need to improve? Well, your answer should be absolutely, right? Because that's how you're going to climb. So we're not going to keep our tools right where they are. We're going to increase our referral rate. We're going to make the changes in our systems, our strategies, our communication mastery, getting our scripts and our delivery down in this area. We're going to include our re-signs. We're going to significantly increase our wellness club, our back door, whatever it is. I need you to start pinpointing with your team right now. This is the planning session, right? We're climbing Mount Everest. This is that time where we're going, these 3 KPIs right here are our 3 targets. Now, it doesn't mean that there can't be other KPIs that we're tracking and increasing. These 3 right here, non-negotiable. These are going to grow. We're going to get better at these 3. What would those be for you? That's a perfect time right now in this webinar, in this training, and in this time of year to be claiming that. Not goals. These are the 3 KPIs, these 3 tools that are going to help us reach that goal. So then what would you need to do to then roll up your sleeves and significantly improve those 3 KPIs? That is a significant part of this climb. So as I said, module 12 is about world-class goal setting and how you set bonuses and so forth. I would make sure that you watch that before the year is out. You want to set your quarterly goals, team bonuses, and get your training schedule, right? Tuesdays, make sure that's locked in. Your think tanks, sending me your stats. Think about how much better can you utilize me and our coaching system to get that much more done. Some of you are using me and this coaching program like 2x, 3x, 4x better than others. And it's not so much that they're paying more, is they're utilizing it and they're getting that much more out of it. I'm encouraging you to be that person. Like, how much better can you train with me in 2024? It's all locked in, right? It's all locked in before the holidays are even over. So if that's stage 1 of climbing, I'm going to assume right now that you either done that or you're going to do that, right? And you're going to think tank me what your goal is, possibly even what the bonuses are. I want to know what the goals are quarterly through 2024. Think tank me that. You owe that to me, all right? And you're going to love doing it. So stage 2 is about planning the climb. So that starts off with, how do you want to get where you want to be? How do you want to get where you want to be by the end of 2024? It's a great question. And so you've heard me list the Accelerate Practice Success formula at various times. And we talk about new patients per month times your PVA, times your collection per visit, your dollar per visit, times 12 months, and that equals your projected annual income. Well, this time of year, you already could be guesstimating pretty closely what you're going to earn, just based on the last that there's only that many more days left in 2023. Here's how much we've collected up to now. You're going to be within just a few dollars of what it is you expect to collect. I'm asking you to look at this from not just what your annual collection is for 2023. Do this. You should actually be able to use your software right now for your advantage, regardless of what software you're using. You should be able to come with, take even the last 11 months, right? So from January to November, it's already in your books, right? Use 11 months and then take how many new patients that you have had in 11 months and then divide it by 11. And that gives you your new patient per month average, right? And then what's your PVA? Well, that's taking your total number of adjustments for the entire year, January through November, right? And then I want to divide that by my new patients. Well, that gives me my PVA, right? And then the dollar per visit. Well, okay, that's my total collections, January through November, my total collections, and that's divided by the total number of adjustments that we gave through January to November. So I'm giving you some of those formulas right now so that you could go, okay, that's not going to be hard at all. And now we have what's called your algorithm, right? You might be a 20, 30, 50, 20 new patients a month. My retention or PVA is 30. My dollar per visit is 50 times 12. And that gives me my projected annual revenue. Do you know that what I'm asking you to do is not only finish this and think tank this to me, we need to also set in place, how are we going to improve that? In the same way that we looked at those KPIs just a moment ago. I said, remember, pick out 3 that we need to absolutely target that we're going to grow. Those should be then affecting this. So your KPIs are then going to help you increase your practice success formula, and increasing your practice success formula is going to help you crush your goals. Man, I want you to see that progression. I want that as clear in your mind as possible, and that we're not going to miss a single piece of this. Play full out with me and watch what happens in 2024. I'm believing that you have a record-breaking year right in front of you. There's nothing holding you back whatsoever from doing that. So let's find out what your algorithm is, and then you and I think tank me and I'll think tank you back. Let's make sure we set in motion what will our target for our new practice formula be? What are we going to move it to? Some keys on that would be this. If you're going to increase your goal, your production by 10%, well, then there needs to be at least 10% that we're seeing improvement in your KPIs, right? If the goal was to increase your production by 20%, somewhere in those KPIs is a 20% improvement. You get that, right? And if we're looking to do like 100%, like we're going to double, well, what that's telling you is you're ready and willing, right? Time, energy, and money to put in what it takes to have 100% improvement in some KPIs. So those go hand in hand, right? And I love that. I love that. So there are 4 plans that I'm going to show you right now. Plan A is climb your mountain through being able to rethink, reinvent your new patient campaign. It is all about, for you, 2024 is about, I'm going to take those 2,000, patients that Coach was talking about last month, and I'm only getting 20 or 25 of them a month, in my practice as new patients. I'm going to do a much better job. I remember that training on the fish and the net, the pole and the net, right? And I want to do much more finding the schools of fish, and I want to be able to just do a much better job. When you get to the modules and you actually look at modules both 7 and 8, because 7 and 8 are just absolutely incredible, world-class patient education and world-class marketing, right? I want you to be able to do both. But when you go to the world-class marketing module, what you're going to see there is the 16 quadrant system. And that's going to show you about what you're doing daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, what you're doing on the inside, what you're doing on the outside, what you're doing that is spending energy only, and what is spending money. You put those together in 16 quadrants, you're going to be able to nail this plan A in a way you couldn't imagine. So we'll leave that right there for plan A. Plan B is to climb your mountain through improving your kept appointments, right? And so now we're looking at this in an entirely different way, right? We're starting to see, okay, that's different than just new patients. I need to really attack this in such a way that, like dropouts and missed visits, we're going to just eliminate that, right? That's plan B. If I just did that, and that's a big if, right? If I just did that, I could crush my goals next year. Some of you are finishing this year and you're having 18, 19%, 20% missed visits. And then when you look at the number of dropouts that happened just in this year, oh my gosh, what you're capable of accomplishing just in plan B is outrageous. So plan C is to climb your mountain through significant increase by reinventing your care plans, right? And your new patient conversion rates, better care plans and better conversion rates. Some of you are relatively new in my program right now, many of you, that you need to be thinking 2024, maybe I have been recommending those 3-month plans. And maybe as I get into 2024, I can start recommending those 12-month plans, right? So there needs to be an increase in understanding of what am I even recommending? And then how well am I using my props? How well am I using my scripting? How well am I using the 7 yeses? Like how well am I really using the Accelerate R1, R2, R3 process to significantly increase my conversion rate? Do you realize if you have a conversion rate right now of 53%, and you take that to 68%, that's a 15% increase, you're going to crush every goal that you set next year. And so we're talking about this sort of in plan C. And then plan D is climb your mountain through improving, PVA. When you start really recognizing these various plans, you should be asking yourself, is there one or a set of plans that's jumping out at you, right? New patients, a better kept visit, like zero missed visit consciousness, right? Is it about really better care plans and conversion rates? Is it about, PVA and re-signs? Or is there a set like plan A and plan C? I want you to think about that, right? And you don't have to be impulsive and just like decide in the moment. Give that some meditation, give that some real thought right now, because right there is where you're going to start looking at your KPIs. Remember those 3 that I was talking about that we're going to really, really target? Those are going to come out of plan A, plan B, plan C, or plan D. Your goal has to match your investment of time, energy, and money, and your plan has to match the mountain you wish to climb, right? So if we're looking to do a big climb, we need a very detailed plan. Say yes if you get that, right? Some of you are not going to climb Mount Everest next year, but you're still climbing a mountain, right? And I really want you to get, for those of you that have climbed mountains as I have, and you're going to, let's say, Colorado, which is a great place to do some mountain climbing, right? Or you're going to Utah and you're climbing some mountains there, or you're climbing in the state of Washington, for example, right? Mount Rainier, and there's other places where we can climb. Climbing mountains requires planning and it requires training. And I want to give that metaphor so that you recognize your goal has to match your investment of time, energy, and money, and your plan has to match the mountain that you wish to climb. Better to kind of get all of that right now in your head and heart so that you just feel so connected to that as your practice grows in 2024, up and down on the way up, I don't lose heart, I don't lose vision, I don't lose focus. I don't lose energy. I'm in it to win it, coach. I am doing whatever it takes and I'm ready to go. A strong goal demands a strong plan to execute. I love that. I mean, for me, reaching a goal is awesome. I mean, there is nobody that that loves reaching goals as much as I do. But I will say this, the journey to achieving that goal should be equally as amazing, right? And so when you look back on having achieved that goal, what should be pouring through your head and heart and around the fire that you're with your team celebrating someplace, having, just this amazing celebration. You're talking about the stories and what happened along the way that got us to that goal. And what got us to that goal felt as good and as rich and as meaningful and as significant as achieving the goal itself. It desires a strong plan to execute. So from the planning goes to stage 3, right? And that's training to get into climbing shape. What KPIs do you need to improve to get where you want to go? Do you notice just how beautifully sequential this is? And do you see how one domino is just sort of affecting the next domino? You might be coming into this part of the pro webinar right now going, Coach, I've already got those 3. You mentioned a few minutes ago, there should be at least 3, right? And probably only 3, right? We need 3 KPIs. The rest of them are going to come along for a ride. Can you put your full time and attention, right? Your team's time and attention to improve those KPIs? Maybe you already did that. Congratulations, right? Which is going to make it even better getting into this stage. Others of you like, no, I just heard you say that a few minutes ago, and I'm still processing that, Coach, and I'm still thinking, what would those KPIs be? Good on you, right? By the end of this webinar, it should become even that much more evident. What are those, right? What KPIs do you need to improve? This is about training to get into climbing shape. So I'm going to put out some getting in shape numbers. And you might want to take a screenshot of this, and many of you do that. And I appreciate it, right? Because that way you can go back and look at it again and again. Less than 10% missed visits. Let's just say right now, that is a career achievement. And so if you're in my single digit missed visit club, that's a major club for you to be in. And so that means that your missed visits are 5%, 7%, 8%, right? And that is world class. And what that also means is you've now created a foundation, listen carefully, to grow. So less than 10% missed visits is literally a Willy Wonka ticket, right? Like you're now ready. Where do you want to go, right? But if you're still up there at 15 to 20%, it's not that you can't grow. It's just, it's going to be a little uphill. It's going to be a little against the wind. It's going to be a little in the mud, and it's going to be a little kind of wearing boots for no reason at all. So we do what it takes to get our missed visits under 10%. It's a career move. The goals that you've got now in place, they're almost automatic. So when we start thinking about 10% or more in terms of daily referral, that's our accelerate rule. And the rule is to lead and inspire at least 10% of the people coming in on the books today to share chiropractic with a friend or family member. So if I've got 50 people coming in today, at least 5 are going to be led and inspired to share chiropractic with a friend today. And that might actually be leading with some type of referral card, right? They're going to be getting scheduled to come to the workshop. That there's an actionable step, right? That's going to happen. That's every day. That's every day, right? And when you get to the point where a minimum of 10% of your patients are being led and inspired to share chiropractic with others, and you've got a great master lead sheet. If you don't know what that is, think tank me, right? The master lead sheet. So we're following up with these leads, and we've got it color coded, right? So green means they've already been followed up and they're on my books. That's what green means. Red means, hey, thank you, but I'm not interested. They're just not ready to come in. That's okay. And then yellow means we're still in the process of getting in touch with that lead. Like your master lead sheet should come alive, but that doesn't matter at all if we're not committed to leading and inspiring referrals on a day-to-day basis. That one KPI, 10 plus net momentum. So those of you that have already gone through the immersion seminar, you already know what I'm talking about. Those who have not, that's what I'm going to ask you to do. Get some popcorn and be with your team. And between now and the end of the year, please just watch the 5 series videos. It's a seminar that I actually had recorded, the immersion seminar series. It's right there in your website. If you have any questions, just contact Katrina, success@cjmerch.com, and she'll walk you straight on through it. But I just want you to know that net mo is maybe the most important statistic, maybe the most important KPI that happens in your practice, because what happens with net mo is it tells us all about how many new patients have come into your practice, and then how many dropouts have happened in the same calendar month. And so I want you to know that when you're averaging 10 or more, virtually any goal that you've got set is going to be crushed. That's why these are so important. Each one of these, I could spend an hour and not repeat myself on any one of these. So if I had 20 new patients this month, but I had 8 people that dropped out, well, that's not good. We don't want that. But 20 minus 8 is 12. That still leaves you at 12 plus net mo. We can grow with that. We can grow and not just grow, crush goals with that. 10 plus at your workshop attendance. Notice that is not about just your new patients. We do not want new patient classes. We do not want new patient orientation. Do not say those words as you move into 2024. The workshop has never been only new patients. It is required. Make that distinction in your head and heart. It is required for your new patients to show, but your town has been invited to come to your workshop. It's the only place that they'll ever learn the truth about health and healing. Would you agree? It's the only place they're going to learn about true chiropractic is in your practice. So that means their friends and their family are welcome. It's limited seating, right? So they have to call in advance and they get scheduled. So we're thinking about workshop, the new patient, and guests. And that's where this 10 people, averaging 10 people every time that you do a workshop, 10 or more, new patients and guests, and watch what happens to your goal crushing. 10% positive future scheduled visits. So if you're seeing 200 adjustments a week right now, and in the average, that's an average, right? And then on average, you're actually scheduling 220 adjustments a week. So we actually did 200 services, right? We served 200. And the same week, I'm talking about your report of findings now, right? I'm talking about your report of findings now and your resigns in the same weeks, right? That you're serving 200, we put 220 on the books. Well, that means that your future scheduled visits is higher than your actual adjusted visits. That's nirvana. There it is. That's where we need to be. We need to be scheduling more visits than we serve on average. When you accomplish that, any goal that you want to set, we're going to be able to do. Let's continue with just a few more so that you can see the 90% of your new patients show, right? 90% of your report show. 70% of the people that come through your report, they convert. 30% of the people that convert, prepaid. And then of the people that started your care, that 70%, 90% of them re-signed to your wellness program at the end of the year. These are all KPIs. Do you get that? Take a screenshot here too. And what you start to recognize is, oh my gosh, let me just say something right now. There are practices training with you right now, training with me and you, that have 90% of all those KPIs. That's them. Just imagine what kind of practice they have right now. Just imagine truly what kind of practice they have right now. And then there's other people training with us right now, and almost all of them are brand new clients, right? And maybe they were struggling and they just didn't know about any of this. And really they have maybe 10% of the KPIs I just went through. That's what their practice is. And then just start to imagine, well, what kind of practice is that has only maybe 10% of those KPIs that they're tracking and doing those. And then to me, my encouragement to you is, regardless where you are, what happens when you actually take 3 of those and significantly improve your KPIs to match what I've got on the screen here? I hope this is coming clear to you. This is all available for 2024. So climbing shape means no cluster, just no cutting corners. It means no skipping Tuesday trainings, never, right? No lackluster huddles or sub-goaling. It just can't be just informational, right? There's no way. It takes energy and passion. It takes preparation every day to get those huddles and sub goals just fantastic. And no stat left untracked or unreviewed. So if you're going to be tracking KPIs, who's tracking it? Where do they put the report? For many of my clients, I'd even say most of my clients, even though we're in this wonderful era of technology, and you could be using a Google spreadsheet, you could be using any one of a number of technologies to operate this, which I'm perfectly fine with. It is amazing still to me today how many of my most successful clients have a 3-ring binder that they got from Office Depot, right? And they have dividers January through December. And then in each month, it's week 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for those weeks where there's a week 5, I think there's 3 or 4 months in the year where there's a 5th week. They've got dividers of weeks, right? Week 1, 2, 3, 4, and then sometimes 5. And then each person on the team is responsible for tracking certain statistics. And those go on a simple form that you create in your office. And they just fill it in and they 3-hole punch it. And by Friday, it needs to be in that book, and that book goes home with you, the doctor, so that over the weekend, you can actually be looking at performance, and you can be looking at it relative to the week before, maybe even the month before. And just so you know, when we get to the last week, everyone on the team realizes that in that last week, we're not only just tracking what we did that week, we're also accumulating for the month. So in that last week, we'll not only see what we performed in that week, there'll also be information there that totals it all. Total adjustments, right? Total revenue, total kept visits, etc. So it could be as simple as something like that. What a tool. But if it's, regardless if it's that or some type of spreadsheet, do you have that? That's my question, right? Climbing shape means, do you have that, right? Is somebody tracking that? My goodness, when you think about climbing Mount Everest, there are people that have their eyes on food, on oxygen, on water, on the condition of ropes. I mean, say yes if you get that, right? Like we're really very clear about how much have we climbed and how much have we left to climb and what are we going to climb today? And there's just a lot that's being tracked, and that tracking process lets us know how we're climbing, right? What do we need to do better? That's the beauty about what we do as chiropractors, and what you and I do in this coaching program is we're making the idea of growing so fabulous, right? And the way we grow, it can be fun, right? It can be exhilarating. It doesn't have to be, messy, and it doesn't have to be dramatic and exhausting, right? And it doesn't have to be sad or frustrating. And there are times for some of that, right? But it can be climbing Mount Everest or your mountain, right? And that's why I'm slowing down today to share this with you. Climbing shape means that your mind is sharp, right? Your body is strong, and that your heart is full of love. And so we are in the place where when we are that, every day that we come in, we have very strong faith, confidence, and belief, very strong present time consciousness, and very strong motivation. And when those things are in place and you've got the right KPIs that you're tracking and you're putting our systems and strategies in play, you've got a huge unfair advantage. I just showed you all those tracking mechanisms, all those KPIs, and I showed you really what are the ideal numbers that you should be averaging right now. Man, I can't wait for you to share that with your team so you can see how far away or how close you are to being able to get one more of those KPIs in Coach CJ's columns, right? Those are not just any numbers. Those are numbers that are goal-crushing KPIs every year. That's what it takes. So, question, what behaviors, plural, have you developed this year, you and your team, that you absolutely want and need to bring into 2024? There are certain things that you've been doing that you have gone, wow, we implemented this. And maybe we implemented it back in March. Maybe we started doing our workshops again. And now the way we're actually leading people to actually write their name in this book and their schedule for the report. What a great habit that is, right? That's a great character and a habit. We're going to absolutely bring that into 2024. Slow down and answer this question that's very meaningful. There are beautiful systems and strategies that you have put in this year we absolutely want to copy and paste it into next year. We absolutely want to bring in these levels of competency, these levels of strength. We want to bring them in to the new year. Take a list. This would be a fun team assignment. And in the same assignment, right? This is the second question. It's the other side of the coin. What behaviors, plural, are prevalent in your practice and have been this year? Watch this, that you cannot, that you will not, that you must not bring into 2024. That's not an easy conversation. It just happens to be priceless, right? And so that's a conversation about, okay, a certain attitude, or maybe something about our ethics or just our habits. And it's about, we're just showing up late. You know, we're missing trainings. We're not tracking stats. Like, what else could you be putting in there that's like, gosh, this is just, we've been really inconsistent, or we just haven't, you know, the way we're doing this, let's bury that in 2023. Let's learn our lessons, right? It's okay. It was a mistake. Let's let that bury in 2023. We are not bringing that into 2024. And the whole team rallies around that going, you know what? You're right. We're better than that. And we're going to be able to reach these goals and crush these goals and have a great time doing it if we can take these things and we cannot bring them into 2024. So claim your mountain, you know, the path that you want to climb, and then commit to do whatever it takes. And I promise you, that mountain, that goal, it will be yours. I want you to picture that in your mind right now. Just as you see on the screen, there's somebody at the top of a mountain and their hands are raised, and it's just that victory energy that we did what we set out to do, that we did what we said we were going to do. And that whether that goal was the total number of adjustments that we're going to perform in 2024, we did it and more. That total amount of revenue that we're going to collect in 2024, we did it, right? And those KPIs that we said we're going to get them into that next level of greatness, and we saw them on the screen here in December, but we actually literally created them and sustained them in 2024. We did that, right? That's what caused us to make the climb and to crush the goal, right? I want you to picture that right now. Would you just picture that with you and your team, that you're going to make this climb, you're going to set the goal, that you're going to plan, right? And do some great planning, and you're going to get yourself in climbing shape. And of course, the fourth phase is what's next. It's not even part of this pro webinar, right? It's going to be every bit. That fourth phase, which is the climb, that's all my trainings that I'm going to take you through in 2024. So I look forward to seeing you in Austin. There are so many of you already scheduled. Your team is scheduled. If you haven't booked the hotel, please do that right now. Certainly before Christmas, you'll be able to lock in your time, your reservation there, get your flight scheduled. And I'm telling you right now, you do not want to miss this one. This one is laced with exactly what it takes to get an unfair advantage coming out of not only quarter one, but quarter two as well. You just can't miss it. So I look forward to seeing you there. Certainly from my family, from my team, we wish you Merry Christmas. I know I'll be back with you before then, but I'm just wishing fantastic experiences for you and your children, your spouses, your friends and family. You have been amazing this year. And I want to be the first to tell you, I am so proud of you. And I'm so proud of the work you do and the amazing results that you've created for men, women, and children. Nothing goes unnoticed. So whether there's a certain goal that you didn't achieve this year, you saved, improved, and extended lives in ways that no one else in your town could. We're just going to do a better job of that even next year. Amen. So until next time, and as always, practice with passion. Have a wonderful week, and God bless you.